Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to look at personnel management in business organization. Personnel management in business organization. Like we discussed last week, at the formation of every business organization, a human resource manager is always there from the foundation, right from the time office setting, location, decision making, all those periods, you must find a human resource personnel. So today we are going to look at some of the major functions of a human resource manager. We are going to look at them in three phases: managerial role, operative role, and the advisory function. Under managerial functions, we are going to look at planning. Planning, like we discussed last week, at the formation of every organization, you can't just establish a business without planning the organization, without planning the number of people that will be required in the course of establishing such an organization. You also have to put into consideration the location, the office setting, the space, market share. What do you intend to produce? Or are you going to embark in service delivery? All these things are embedded at the early stage of every organization. That is when you plan and put every idea that will be required to set the ball rolling. You put all these things in place. Then after planning the organization and how you want to go about it, the next phase is the organizing phase. In this organizing stage, you begin to establish objectives and develop plans and programs to reach them. You design and develop organization structure. That is, by structure, I mean how you intend to carry out various operations, the kind of people you will need in the course of driving this objective. Because in some areas where a technician is required, you cannot just go and hire a footballer to come and play the role of a technician. A situation where someone with enough computer skills are required, you can't just bring in a singer to come and do that job. So at this stage, you begin to organize, you begin to think or how to get the right set of people for the job. Putting round square in round holes. That is the ultimate aim at this organizing stage. Now that you have identified the right kind of people to work with, the next stage is the number 3 stage, which is directing. Directing is a major function of a human resource personnel. Having planned, organized, you need to direct those personnel on their job functions. You need to motivate them and carry them along through the planning, salary administration, ensuring employees' morale, developing cordial relationship, and provision of safety requirements and welfare of employees. Because as a human resource manager, the bulk is on your desk to seek for the welfare of every employee under your control. From there, we move to number 4, which is controlling. Controlling is concerned with regulation of activities in accordance with the plans. All those things you have mapped out. These are our plans. These are the things we set out to achieve. How do you achieve them? You have control, you have directed some of your key staff on what to do. You need to control them. You need to monitor them. You need to make sure that things are working well according to the way you planned it from day one. Without controlling them, it will be very difficult for you as a human resource personnel to achieve or actualize the goal of the organization. Having said that, we move to the second function, which is the operative functions. Under operating functions of human resource management, we are going to look at employment. When you have set out all this ball rolling, when you have set the ball rolling, you need to employ the right kind of people for the job. This involves recruitment, selection, placements of personnel in the right direction. After employment, the next thing we look at is development. Because people you employ, most of them may be young school leavers that just left school with little or no job experience. Even if they have job experience, you just employ them. You need to develop them. You need to carry them along. You need to put them through in the job. Because some of them have not been doing that kind of job for a very long period of time. So invariably, training and development of personnel is a key job function of a human resource person. Each employee has to be properly developed. Your skills, your technical skills has to be developed in order to make sure that that personnel is fit in the job. After this development, we move to number 3 point, which is compensation. This function is concerned with the determination of a HR person to adequately and equitably remunerate the employee in the organization. You must make sure as a human resource personnel that the welfare of the employee is well catered for. The employee will receive living salary, a salary that can take him or her home. The personnel can be compensated both in terms of monetary value or as non-monetary reward. Compensation does not necessarily mean on salary. You can grant them study leave, training, overseas training, and other things. From there, let's look at the number 4 points under this operative function of human resource department, which is maintenance. Maintenance. If you have a moving vehicle, you use your car 6 months, 1 year, without taking it to mechanic for them to service it, at least if not for any other thing, you remove the oil and oil filter and put new oil filter and new engine oil. That engine will not serve you well. Same thing is applicable in the organization. A good human resource manager makes sure that the employees he has put together has to be maintained at all times. His job does not just end on appointments and training of people. It's not sufficient enough. Those people you just employ, you have to maintain them. You have to make sure that they are taken care of. You make sure that what you are giving them is capable of taking care of their domestic needs, their recreational facilities, children education, and so on. From there, we move to number 5, which is motivation. Employees, in most cases, they leave their houses from 8 o'clock and work with you till 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. You have taken the most aspect of their time for the day. So because of that, you need to motivate them and make sure that they are well taken care of. There are so many ways of motivating employee. It could be through financial reward. You can motivate employee through so many ways, through promotion, through productivity bonus, overseas training, and so on and so forth. Another operative function of HR person we shall also look at today is the personnel records. Personnel records. The Human Resource Department keeps the personnel record of every employee in every organization. Call a human resource manager at any given point in time. He will just give you all the information you need concerning that particular employee, because they are the ones keeping the record. From the very moment you hire them to work with you in the organization till the time they will go on retirement. A copy of their offer letter is in your care. All the number of times they have taken annual leave, sick leave, training, promotions, welfare packages, achievement, transfer. So all these information are kept in the database of a personnel manager or a human resource manager. So personnel records are records that are the employees' record that are under the possession of a human resource personnel. From there, we look at their industrial relations. The industrial relations, we are here interested on the responsibility of maintaining good atmosphere, good industrial relations, good harmonious relationship in the workplace. The employees, they have to be in good terms with one another. They don't need to keep malice in the office space. They don't need to quarrel. They work like a team, esprit de corps, as we mentioned when we did the 14 principles of management. The spirit of oneness should exist among all the employees. So the human resource manager makes sure that all these things are well taken care of. Even their collective bargaining, joint consultation, settlement of disputes, if need arises. So a personnel or human resource person takes care of all these industrial relations. Another one we shall look at is separation. Separation. A Greek philosopher once said that nothing is constant in life except change itself. Nothing is constant. Everything in life is bound to change. So every employee that a human resource person hired to work with him or her, that soon come when that employee will be separated and move back to the larger society, either by retirement or termination, or even when the unforeseen happens, that is as a result of death. So separation is inevitable in the workplace. The employee will put 35 years of service. You go on retirement. Some will die in the office, while some will resign and move to another organization. So and so on and so forth. So a human resource manager has a role to play when it comes to separation of employee from the organization. It is logical that the last should be the separation and return of that person to the society. Most people do not die on the job. They serve up to their retirement age. So the organization responsibility is to meet certain obligations, certain requirements of due process of separation. In some organizations, management have discovered that immediately some of their personnel put in their 35 years in service and retire. Some of them will die after 2 years or 3 years. That is the major reason why pension fund administration was created, to make sure that these personnel are being taken care of. Their retirement benefit are split into two. They pay them 50% first, while pension fund administrators will manage the remaining 50% for them and be giving it to them gradually on a monthly basis. The essence of this is to make sure that the individual being separated from the organization is taken care of after his or her retirement. Nobody is interested to lose their employee after retirement. So from there, we move to advisory functions. Under these advisory functions, the Human Resource Department play advisory role to top management. They advise management when to employ when not to employ, when to downsize, when organization is overstaffed, and things like that. They also advise departmental heads on how to go about the management and maintenance of their personnel or the personnel under them. They design recruitment and selection processes, placement, training, performance appraisal, and so on. So they do all these things hand in hand with departmental heads of every parastatal. From there, we have come to the end of the functions. So we quickly move to manpower planning. Under manpower planning, we are looking at human resource planning, and it consists putting the right number of people, right kind of people at the right place. Like I said before, putting round squares in round holes. So you find out that in a situation like this, the human resource manager has a very big role to play. The role of manpower planning includes analyzing the current manpower inventory. How many employees do you have in your organization? You keep a database of all of them. You also look at the future manpower forecasts. In the next few years to come, where and how do you intend to get your employees? How many people will you need in the next 10 years to come? It's a kind of forecast. This has to do with manpower forecast. You also look at developing employment programs, because the programs you are running today will not, some of them may be obsolete in the next 10 years to come. So how do you improve on the program as a human resource person? You design training programs, because a lot of things are changing in the society today. The society we find ourselves is fast developing and changing technologically. We just embraced the era of computer age. Now we are now moving towards artificial intelligence, a situation some systems or even robots will be acting like human beings, playing the role of humans, doing the reasoning like humans. So you find out that all these things are embedded, and the human resource personnel is supposed to be on top of the situation in the course of implementing all these changes as they come. So still under expert forecast. So we have trend analysis, workload analysis, workforce analysis. Under workforce, we talk of the number of people you will require to do the job at any particular given time. So we also look at developing employment programs. Like I told you earlier on, in the next 5 years to come, things will change. How do we intend to change all these programs? How do you change the programs that are obsolete and bring the running program and bring in the trending programs? Or if you don't do it, you will be out of business. I keep giving you an instance. In the 1970s and late 80s, we were using typewriter, manual typewriter in this country. But today, you hardly go to any establishment and still see those manual typewriters. So those people that were operating those manual typewriters as at that time, they have to improve themselves in order to fit in with the present reality of things in the society. If you don't improve yourself, you are out of job. So management is always interested in designing on some of these training programs in order to improve their organization. So we also look at the importance of manpower planning. This manpower planning is very crucial in every organization. You look at key to managerial functions. It is also efficient utilization of both material and human resources. Motivation is there. Manpower planning helps in motivating people, the staff that are doing the job, the right men, putting the right men in the right job, and thereby motivating them, if you want, must get the best out of them. We also have better human relations. There should be a conducive atmosphere within the organization, not organization that is full of gossip, hearsays, and poison the environment. Poison the environment in the sense that you as employee, when you remember going to work that very day, you in fact you will be weakened because the environment is poisoning against you, ab initio. So it affects your human reasoning. It affects your psychology as a person, as an employee. It will even make you to be making mistakes while in the office. We also look at the higher productivity. It helps in improving the quality of jobs in the workplace. So let's look at processes of staff recruitment, selection, placement, and induction. We have said much about recruitment. Recruitment is a process of bringing together prospective employers and employees. So in the course of selecting the right kind of people needed for the job. So let's briefly look at the processes of recruitment. The first one, we shall look at the sources of recruitment. We have various sources of recruitment, internal sources and external sources. By internal sources, we are looking at the people you employ within the organization. People that have voluntarily left, people who voluntarily left the organization in the past, maybe as a result of retrenchment. Construction companies do this most of the times. Each time they have contracts, Julius Berger, HFPA, and so on, each time they have contracts, they will go and recruit more people, especially hard work staff. Immediately that contract is over, they will retrench. They retrench because they don't have contract at hand. Not that they will not need those employees again. Whenever they have contract again, they will call them because they have their contract. So that kind of employment is under internal sources. People you have in your database, people you have done one thing or the other with in the past, which you are still keeping in your database. So the advantage of employing internally is to make sure that continuity in the workplace is maintained. Another source is external force, external sources. By external sources, we are looking at a situation, human resource department now move outside in the course of recruiting the right kind of people for the job. This idea of moving externally guarantees suitable qualified people. That is the situation when qualified people are not available internally. Human resource department has to move external. That is another reason why foreign companies and foreign companies operating here, one time of the day or the other, they bring in expatriates from outside to come and do some specialized job functions. And they call them expatriates and pay them in dollars. So these external sources is also necessary when organization feels it is necessary to impact new blood or for fresh ideas. You don't want to be recycling the same old people you have. You want to look outside. You have to look outward and bring in some fresh blood with new ideas who can now come in and make the required changes in the organization. You also do this when there is under merger and acquisition. When an organization is merging with another organization, in order to be free, not to be biased, in most cases, they will drop the old employees and bring in new set of people. Because if you continue maintaining the old employees, there will be bad blood will be generated. Company A will require all of their staff to join, while Company B will also do the same. So in order to save the situation, you look externally and bring people from outside, people that will be neutral, people that will not dance to the dictates of the old chairman or the old MD. So let's look at method of recruitment. We have three methods: direct recruitment, indirect recruitment, and third party. Direct recruitment A good example of it is when you move to campus to interview fresh graduates or to NYC orientation camps, to interview fresh graduates in the course of bringing them into the job. That is a direct method of recruitment. We also have indirect method. Under indirect method, it involves advertisement in the print media, radio, television, advertisement, and so on. Under that advertisement, you advertise the job functions, the responsibilities required, or what have you. So that method is an indirect method of recruitment. You don't know them, you have publicized that you need people. So people from members of the public will now put in their application. So we also have third-party method of recruitment. Under this third party, it requires reference. Reference to employment exchange, statutory requirements, job organizations, and so on. From here, we look at selection. The selection processes include 1, application blanks and biodata. Reject some candidates. Then the third one, more interviews, reject some candidates. So what do I mean by this? Under application blank, we mean the process of bringing in your curriculum vitae, your resume. That is the first point of selection. Not every application that comes in will be selected for invitation. You first screen the application. Application blank or biodata is where you have the name, address, phone number, email address of the prospective employee. You screen this application and check whether this person qualifies inviting for test. When you do that, under the process of test, it could be written test, it could be oral test. Under that test, certain set of people will be rejected, while some few will also be taken. And we have various kinds of tests while trying to select people based on this approach. We have intelligent tests. This test measures your intellect, your qualities, your innate ability, your understanding as a prospective employee. We also have aptitude tests, which have to measure your natural propensity, your talent, your ability, especially your skills, the skills that will be required for you to perform in the job. We also have achievement tests. Achievement test is meant to identify your proficiency, the level of your proficiency as a prospective employee. It measures your skills and your acquired knowledge. We also have what we call PIP test, PIP, PIP test. This PIP test measures your personality, the kind of person you are. Are you a criminal or a trusted person? That is the kind of test to that effect. When you test that kind of employee, it's just like a situation, a newly employed staff is taken to, a newly employed personnel in a banking industry is taken straight to the vote, to the bank vote. On entering the bank vote, what do you intend to see? Is it not money? But on entering there, your reaction, your physical outlook, your psychology, your perspective will determine whether you will be allowed to work as a cash officer or not. Because your psychology will tell your manager whether you will tamper with those money or not. So PIP test measures your personality to know who you are, to know whether you are the kind of person that one can leave office for with confidence and nothing will happen. So we also have interest test. This interest test helps employer to identify where your interest lies, your skills, your hobbies, your occupation. This kind of test will enable the employer to even identify where to place you in the course of doing the job. We also have projective tests. The projective test helps the employer to identify your ability to interpret problems when situation arises. This kind of test is carried out in most cases. A manager can give you 5, 6 different tasks to work with at the same time. Your ability to do these 5 different tasks and still remain focused makes you who you are. That helps in identifying your projective, your ability to interpret your skills in the course of interpreting or solving problems. We also have other tests with various varieties of tests that can be used in the course of getting you employed in the workplace. The third one is the interviews. We have different kinds of interviews. We have structured interviews, we have unstructured interview, and semi-structured. Under unstructured interview, the question to be asked is not stated. Immediately you come into the interview room or before the panel, your outlook will determine the first questions they will ask. In this case, in this kind of interview, they don't have already prepared questions. They can ask you from different angles. They can decide to ask you from sports, from economy, or even the job you want to do. So it has no streamline, no structure. That's why we call it unstructured. It does not take a definite pattern. It has no pattern. Questions can come from any way. At times, 3 persons can ask you different questions at the same time. What do? You start from the ones you know. We also have semi-structured interview. This semi-structured interview, it has a structure halfway, and at the same time, they also implement the unstructured pattern, a little to the left, a little to the right, like a Niccolo Machiavellian approach. They don't stick to unstructured system, neither do they stick to structure. They make use of both. So under structure, they have already prepared questions to ask. That is the kind of interview you will go. Immediately the next person comes out, you rush in. Sorry, what did they ask? What are the questions that they ask during your own time? So you use that to prepare yourself before entering the panel. That is structured interview. They have laid out procedure. They have questions that are stated, and they'll follow those questions from beginning till the end. We also have placement. Placement has to do with the way your ability as a human resource person to put the right kind of people in the job. People that have flair for marketing, you put them in marketing department. People that are good for operations, you see it in the course of interviewing them, and you mark them out for operations department. We also have induction. Induction has to do with the training, overall training, telling them what organization is all about, what is expected of them in the organization, the do's and don'ts of the organization. All these are embedded in the course of training. From there, we move to job analysis. By job analysis, we mean the division of total work into packages or positions. As a human resource person, you analyze this job in such a way the right kind of people will fit in for the job. After that, we also have, okay, let's look at the definition of job analysis by Jones. He defined job analysis as the process of getting information about jobs. After getting this information, you analyze them based on the kind of human resources and material resources available to you as a human resource person. We have 3 major aspects of this job analysis. We have job description. Job description has to do with the way you try to describe these jobs and their functions and what is required of every personnel. We have job specification, those ones that require special skills. We also have job evaluation. Under job evaluation, you try to go back and scrutinize what you have done in the past and see whether there are areas you will need to put or add more things in the course of doing things in the workplace. So why do we have job analysis? Why job analysis? It helps in human resource planning. It helps a human resource manager to plan well for the organization. It also helps in the course of recruitment and selection. By job analysis, you will now be able to determine when there is vacant position in every department and the right kind of people to select for the job. Job analysis also helps us in training and development. It helps you to develop and train the employees you have hired over the years and map out the training that they will require in the next few years to come. It also helps in placement and orientation, putting the right personnel in the right department. From there, it also helps for job evaluation. Job evaluation refers to determination of relative worth of different jobs. We also let's quickly look at process of job analysis. It helps organizations job analysis. Job analysis brings in with obtaining pertinent information about a job. It gives you the right information about the job. It helps you to select representatives for the job analysis. It also helps in collection of data for job analysis, preparing job description, preparing job specification, let's look at marketing. Definition of marketing. We have less than 3 minutes to go, but let's just take the definition. Next class, we take it off from there. Marketing is defined as the process of managing the process of goods and services, moving them from concept to consumer, moving them from the point of production to the point of consumption. It includes the coordination of 4 elements called the 4 P's of marketing. The 4 P's of marketing, which has to do with products. Under products, you consider what you intend to produce, because you can't just go into production and begin to produce anything you like. You need to study the market and know what to produce for your customers. After production, you consider the next P, which is price. At what price am I going to sell this particular product? You put all factors into consideration: cost of production, cost of labor, cost of raw materials, transportation, and every other cost. You now, from there, having put into consideration all these various costs, you now determine the price at which you sell to your numerous customers. You also select a distribution channel, which has to do with place. Where do I sell this product? Who am I producing it for? So you consider the place you will sell this product. After that, you also consider the last P of marketing, which is the promotional strategy. How do we intend to market it? We have various processes of marketing. So let's quickly look at important functions of marketing. We have 1, gathering and analyzing marketing information. Marketing helps us to gather market information. Who do we produce for? What do our customers want? At what quantity? The price? When do we produce it for them? What kind of advertisement do we put in place in the course of reaching them? What do they want? So these are market information you will analyze as a marketer. We also have marketing planning. Under marketing planning, you map out objectives of the organization regarding its marketing and how to make it in the course of meeting your customers. We also have another one, product designing and development. How do you design these products? How do you develop the product so that it will look attractive before your customers? We also have packaging and labeling. You package it in such a way it will look attractive. Label it with your name so that everybody that sees it will understand that this product is from your company. You also have branding, process of improving, and all that. Customer support service and others. Pricing of products, promotion, advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, publicity. Then you consider transportation, how you intend to move this product to various locations, storage and warehousing. How do you intend to keep it in a safe place? Our time is up. So we'll stop here until we meet again same time next week. Please read up marketing mix element. That's the 4 P's of marketing, 7 P's of marketing, and 4 C's. So next class, we are going to look at them one by one. Thank you so much and have a very great day.